What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Carl. I'm the Consume and Review Lad, and this is the Consume and Review Weekly Wrestling Review number 7. As always, if you do not want to be spoiled for anything wrestling related whatsoever, do not listen to this podcast. This week, I consumed WWE Raw, WWE SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, and AEW Rampage, and I'm going to review those shows on this podcast. This week, I'm going to do a new thing. Before the review of each show, I'm going to list the number of matches on that show and the number of minutes of wrestling that was on that show. In the past, I've listed approximate minutes for each match. I like to explain how I get that time. I watch these shows on a DVR, and when the match starts, I check the DVR time to see what minute it is on. When it starts and when the match ends, I check the DVR time to see what time it was on when the match was over with. So just to give you an example, if I look at the DVR and a match starts and it's on the 2-minute mark, I'll record 2 minutes. And if it ends on the 14-minute mark, I'll record 14 minutes. So that match would be approximately 12 minutes. And I use the term approximate because if the match started at 2 minutes and ended at 14 minutes and 59 seconds, it really would be closer to a 13-minute match. And if the match started at 2 minutes and 59 seconds and ended at 14 minutes, it'd be closer to an 11-minute match. So since I just use the minutes and not the seconds, it would be just an approximate 12-minute match. I just want to give a general idea of how long each match is, and that's why I use that approximate time. And I'm going to use those approximate times to calculate the approximate minutes of wrestling each show had, but I want to clarify 2 points real quick. Point 1 is on a taped show, the live audience may have witnessed a longer match than what we see as a TV audience. Since on taped shows, it is possible to cut time out of the matches. Point 2 is that this isn't the amount of wrestling the viewers saw on TV, since commercials do cut into the matches. And the real reason for that is that WWE and AEW, how they portray matches on TV is different. When a commercial is going to break up a match in AEW, they typically run picture-in-picture. And the reason I say typically is because on AEW Dynamite, there's usually one match that goes from picture-in-picture to straight commercial. In fact, I actually label that match the piss break match. It's not called a piss break match because it's insulting the workers or it's insulting the match quality. It's called the piss break match because for whatever reason, that's the one match on Dynamite the TV audience watching on TNT does not get to see the complete match of. Now, WWE does not use picture-in-picture. I know they have in the past, specifically when SmackDown moved to Tuesdays on the USA in 2016, they had picture-in-picture for some time, but it has ceased to be a regular thing for the WWE. And I do know that on Monday Night Raw, there was a little picture-in-picture segment, but that was just running a Head and Shoulders commercial. Just 2 Head and Shoulders commercials, actually, not a typical commercial block. So we're really not going to consider that. And honestly, if WWE did do picture-in-picture, they never really did it for every single match, usually just a few matches, while AEW typically does it for every single match, besides one match that for whatever reason cuts off from picture-in-picture to normal commercials for about 2 minutes. So that's why when I'm using these approximate times for wrestling, it's not exactly the amount the live audience saw, because like I said, if it's taped, they could make the matches shorter, and it's not going to be the amount of wrestling that the TV audience saw anyways, because commercials can interrupt that. But it's the amount of wrestling that was kind of booked on these TV shows with the time slot provided. For example, Raw is 180 minutes. So if Monday Night Raw had 60 minutes of matches, I will just list that 60 minutes. The TV audience will not get to see all 60 minutes of those matches because commercial breaks interfered in them. I just want to clarify that before we get into it. But let's go ahead and get into the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw was at Heritage Bank Center, Cincinnati, Ohio. Approximately 5,400 fans in attendance, 1,709,000 viewers, 621,000 in the 18 and 49 range for a .48. We had 10 matches, and off my timekeeping, I got approximately 66 minutes of wrestling on this 180-minute Raw. So just gives you an idea, 66 minutes of wrestling. Not all that 66 minutes we, the TV audience, were able to see. And since it was live, I'm pretty sure that the fans there got to see the 66 minutes. If this was a taped show, like I said, it could be possible that they cut the matches short for the TV audience. But since this is a live show, that's approximately what they saw. We, the audience, we did not see that. We saw less than that because commercials do interfere or do break up these matches that we see on Monday Night Raw. Extreme Rules was the night before, and at Extreme Rules, Big E ended up pinning Bobby Lashley in a 6-man tag match. Bobby Lashley later cut a backstage promo. He wanted a match with Big E for the WWE Championship, despite being pinned by him. Big E later cut a promo saying that match was on, and Raw started off with that match. Bobby Lashley versus Big E for the WWE Championship. Big E had his entrance first. Champion entrance first. I always like listing when the champions come out. Do they come out first? Do they come out second? This time he came out first. This match went approximately 10 minutes. During this match, we got that picture-in-picture ad of Head & Shoulders I talked about earlier, featuring Nikki Ash. She was in this commercial. And then the second commercial for Head & Shoulders was just a normal commercial you see on regular TV. During this match, Big E speared Lashley off the apron, and Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander just appeared. They didn't really run in or something. They were just standing there outside the ring wearing Hurt Business t-shirts. So I guess the Hurt Business is back together. They should have never been broken up in the first place. And I'm not sure if we'll ever get a story of why the Hurt Business came back together. Last time we saw the Hurt Business, they were pretty much getting destroyed by Bobby Lashley in a squash match. I'm not sure if we'll get a storyline reason why they're back, but they are back. And that's great. And they kind of did affect this match because later on, Lashley speared Big E and he pinned him, but the pin was broken up because the New Day came out and they started brawling with the Hurt Business. And Kofi and Cedric went in the ring and they fell on Lashley during the pin. The ref counted it as a disqualification. So Lashley won, but since it was a disqualification, no title changed hands. It was an all right match to that point. After that match, the New Day and the Hurt Locker, they brawled. Adam Pearce came out. He announced Bobby Lashley versus Big E will be in a steel cage match later on that night, so that they're setting up for the main event. Next up, we had a Angel Garza versus Eric from the Viking Raiders match. Eric from the Viking Raiders got a jobber entrance with his tag team buddy. Angel got a cool little entrance with CGI for the first time, I believe, and he came out with his partner, Humberto Carrillo. Also, a promo video of him and Humberto talking about the draft that was coming up. This match went approximately 2 minutes. Each wrestler got some offense in. It ended when Humberto went to the apron holding a pair of pants. Eric got distracted and Angel hit him with the wing clipper to win. It was a short but fun match with a lot of knee strikes. It just sucks that the Viking Raiders are basically jobbers now, and they're jobbing to wrestlers who were jobbers just a few weeks ago. The Viking Raiders, they really have done nothing since they returned. This is probably a reason a lot of people have a hard time getting invested in the WWE. When wrestlers look like they're getting built up, it looks like they're getting pushed, and then they just become jobbers for no reason whatsoever. This is good for Angel, and it's good for his tag team partner, Humberto Carrillo. I'm guessing they're going to form up a tag team soon. We'll see how long before they're jobbing again, because this seems to be the norm where you build up wrestlers and then they job. And like I said, if the Viking Raiders are jobbers again, I don't have a lot of confidence that Angel and Humberto will be able to get a major push and do something. But we'll see. I might get surprised here. We'll see. I'm definitely rooting for them to do something. I think they're talented wrestlers. And I think the Viking Raiders are talented wrestlers too. And it just sucks to see these wrestlers getting pushed and it going absolutely nowhere. Next up, we have a video package showing what happened after the Flair Bliss match at Extreme Rules. Rumor has it Bliss is going to take a few months off, so when she returns, maybe it'll be a different character. Her horror movie character was really over, in my opinion. I know people online were really debating if it was over or not, but in the crowd, you could definitely tell it was over. Lily was almost backordered. People were buying the doll so often. And Lily, just the doll itself being so over, her character being so over, I figured that she would maybe get a title reign. And this is Halloween month. And she's not going to be on the WWE during Halloween month when they would have been such a treat to have her on. So we'll see what happens when she returns, if she's going to keep that character going or if she's going to get a new gimmick or just go back to normal Alexa Bliss. We'll just have to wait and find out when she returns. Next up, we had a Reggie versus Ricochet match for the 24/7 title that went approximately 1 minute. 24/7 guys were ringside for this fight. The match went outside the ring for it was a minute match, so it went outside the ring fairly quickly. And the 24/7 guys, they jumped the barricade and they started beating up the wrestlers. So the match ended with a DQ. Drake Maverick got the walkie-talkie out. He walkie-talkie Akira Tozawa, who came out. Reggie did this really cool spinning like crossbody flip on him, and Reggie left. He still has the title. And this was a match. It was nice to see Ricochet on TV. He really didn't lose the match. So hopefully he gets some bigger matches than the 24/7 title. And this type of match after Reggie gets more ring time could really be something between those two. We get a backstage Riddle interview. He has a match with AJ Styles later tonight. He talks about Randy Orton not being there. He starts singing Randy Orton's theme song, and Omos and Styles approach him, and Styles just shakes his head. Akira Tozawa is still in the ring. It went to commercial, and there's a little awkward moment there where the commentary was talking about why he's still in the ring, and they got kind of cut off by going to commercial. When we come back from commercial, he has a mic. He wants a match, and he mentions a bunch of the 24/7 regulars to have a match against. Instead, Keith Bearcat Lee has his entrance. I think this is the first time we've seen Keith Bearcat Lee on Monday Night Raw with that new nickname. Keith Bearcat Lee versus Akira Tozawa went approximately 1 minute. Pretty much Keith Bearcat Lee does a few moves and just destroys Akira Tozawa. This was a match. This was a third straight match in a row that was just a short match on Raw. Next up, we get Damian Priest. He has his entrance. It's a championship match, and the champion comes out first once again. We get a little promo from Damian Priest earlier in the day. We go to commercial. When we come back from commercial, we have a New Day backstage interview about the cage match later on the night. Big E cuts a promo on Shelton and Cedric. Pretty much, I think, just saying what the fans are saying. Why did they join the Hurt Business? Why did they come back to the Hurt Business after practically being kicked out and Bobby Lashley destroying them in a squash match? We get Sheamus's entrance. Sheamus versus Damian Priest. No disqualification match, which means pinfall or submission only. Sheamus had a promo about this match during his entrance, a little picture-in-picture promo action there that WWE has been doing a lot lately. This match went approximately 16 minutes. It was a very physical match. The wrestlers were both covered in welts and had some blood from those welts. It ended with Sheamus being thrown into a table in the corner of the ring, and Priest does his reckoning to win the match. This was a good match. Next up, we get Mansoor, Mustafa Ali, and Gorilla. Mustafa Ali is annoyed with Mansoor because he set up a 6-man tag team match with Jeff Hardy as their partner. Mansoor said he did it for the draft so they can prove that they are a team, so hopefully they get drafted together. Mustafa goes to trash Jeff Hardy, but Jeff Hardy appears behind him, so Mustafa just kind of throws off trashing him. Jeff Hardy cut a promo about facing monsters and just hyping up this match. We get Jeff Hardy's entrance, and it was his entrance music in Titantron, but Mansoor, Mustafa Ali came out with him. Mustafa Ali was trying to stop Mansoor from doing his dancing because he was kind of dancing with Jeff Hardy and he was trying to stop it. We go to commercial and we come back. We're in the middle of Jinder's entrance with Veer and Shanky. We get an earlier promo by Jinder Mahal, Veer, and Shanky. We get Jeff Hardy, Mansoor, Mustafa Ali versus Jinder Mahal, Veer, and Shanky. And this match went approximately 3 minutes. And this match was really the Veer and Shanky show. They looked good in this match. They got a lot of offense in. Veer hit Mustafa Ali with a lariat and pinned him to win. It was an okay match. And it's kind of, I guess, maybe unexpectedly wasn't really putting over Jeff Hardy, Mansoor, Mustafa Ali. It was really putting over Veer and Shanky. It made them look really strong. Mustafa Ali ate another pin. I still think Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali will be a singles match, probably at Crown Jewel if I had to guess. I feel like they're building something there. But this match made Veer and Shanky look really good. We have a Karrion Kross backstage promo filmed earlier. He cut a promo, pretty much his normal promo that he's been cutting the past few weeks, and we get his entrance, a Karrion Kross entrance. We also get a Jackson Riker who had a jobber entrance. We have Karrion Kross versus Jackson Riker. This match went approximately 2 minutes. In this match, Kross, I think, got to try to get some heat by making some comments about Jackson's military service. And he put Jackson in this sort of cross jacket, but it wasn't completely all the way in, and the commentary pointed that out. But while they were pointing out that he didn't have it completely locked in, Jackson Riker still tapped out. You know, with the right build, this could have been a pay-per-view match. Instead, Jackson Riker went from his feud with Elias and he had that strap match just straight up jobbing to Karrion Kross now. So this is another example where it looks like they're building up a wrestler. They're doing something with him. He kind of disappears for a little bit. He comes back and now he's just jobbing to Karrion Kross. So like I said, it's a hard to get invested with some of these WWE wrestlers when their pushes really go nowhere and they just end up being jobbers. So Karrion Kross has another victory on his belt. So we'll see where Karrion Kross goes in this conversation. He's clearly being pushed for something. Definitely could see him in some sort of mid-card title picture soon, maybe even holding a mid-card title. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if, I don't know if he'll take it from Damian Priest, but I could see if they do the mid-card title swap with the draft coming up. I could see him maybe taking the Intercontinental title from Nakamura. We have the GMs are talking in the back. Doudrop kind of breaks into their conversation. She wants a title match. Sonya trashes Naomi in this discussion, and the GMs book the title match, but if she wins, she has to do her dance. We get the Riddle entrance. We go to commercial. Lashley's backstage cutting a promo on Big E in their match later on tonight. We have AJ Styles entrance with Omos. Matt Riddle versus AJ Styles went approximately 13 minutes. Styles won via a Styles clash. This was a fun match. After match, Omos chokeslams Riddle. So this feud is still going on, and now that Styles won this match, you have to assume they're going to have a tag team match and run it back. I'm not sure if it's already been booked for Crown Jewel. I could definitely see them having that match at Crown Jewel. But from what I understand, I know they've booked some matches for Crown Jewel, but I'm not sure if they've booked this one yet. We had a video package of what happened between Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax last week, where Nia Jax injured, where Shayna Baszler, I should say, injured Nia Jax, and now Nia Jax is off with an injured elbow. So Shayna Baszler is backstage. She gets asked a question about last week, and she just doesn't answer it. She just walks away. We have Charlotte Flair's entrance. We cut the commercial break, and we come back, and we have Doudrop's entrance. Doudrop versus Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship. This match went approximately 2 minutes. Eva Marie had her entrance during the match while Doudrop was getting some offense in. Charlotte Flair hits distracted Doudrop with natural selection and pins her to win. Eva Marie comes in the ring and to stand tall over Doudrop, but Flair hits her for clothesline, and Flair stands tall in the end. I think this was the only women's match we had on Raw, and it was a 2-minute match. So out of those 66 minutes I mentioned earlier, 2 minutes of them were woman matches. After that, we have the Goldberg. He had like a video live feed promo from home, something like that. He cuts a promo on Lashley. They're going to face at Crown Jewel. We come back, Eva Marie's in the ring. She has a mic. She said she would have won that title match. She's tired of being taken advantage of, tired of being disrespected. She could beat any one of those women. She goes on to leave the ring, but Shayna Baszler's music hits and Shayna Baszler comes out. Eva tries to leave the ring after Shayna Baszler enters the ring, but Shayna puts her in a sleeper hold. She falls asleep. She taps out and then she goes out. Shayna then attacks her arm, and she does the same move she did to Nia Jax last week, where she put her arm in that awkward position on the step and then stomped on it. The crowd was screaming "one more time" while Eva Marie was screaming on the ground in pain. We got an injury report the next day. Eva Marie is injured. So if you want to have a little vacation, just set up a feud with Shayna Baszler, because she'll injure you and you'll have a few weeks off of TV, I'm assuming. We get a backstage interview with Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash. Nikki cuts a promo about their tag team and being champions. Nikki Ash wants matching blue outfits, and Rhea Ripley says, well, blue is good on you, and she just walks off away from the interview. The cage is lowering. We go to commercial break. When we come back, we got Bobby Lashley's entrance, and then we get Big E's entrance. So this time, the first time on the show, the champion came out second, and it's completely reverse of the first match. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure who decides who goes first, who goes second. I think historically, champions usually come out second, but sometimes in wrestling, they come out first. I'm really not sure the logic behind that. Anyways, we have Bobby Lashley versus Big E. This cage match for the WWE Championship went on approximately 16 minutes. During the match, Big E went to climb out, and the Hurt Business came out. They climbed up the cage to prevent him from climbing down and winning the match. Lashley went to go crawl through the door, and Woods came and slammed it on him. Kofi ended up super kicking Cedric Alexander when he jumped off the cage. It was a really cool looking spot. Kofi then climbed up the cage and did a trust fall spot on the Hurt Business. Big E hit the big ending, but Lashley kicked out. And what a total surprise that was, that Lashley kicked out of the big ending. It was not enough to finish him this time around. Lashley then slammed Big E on the ground, and instead of walking to the corner and exiting through the door, he walks past the door and goes to another corner and starts climbing up the cage for some reason. Big E goes up to him, and he hits the big ending on him from the second rope this time, and Big E wins via pinfall. This was a fun match. After the match, McIntyre's music hits. He comes out and he points his sword at Big E, and Big E pretty much tells him to bring it. So it looks like they're building up a feud between McIntyre and Big E. And I just want to say that cage matches in the WWE, I absolutely hate. Just how illogical the wrestlers act. Why would you ever climb out of the cage? Why not just walk through the door right there. The referees open it real quick. You can just walk right out. If they take away that door aspect of the cage, these cage matches make a lot more sense. If the only way to escape the cage was by climbing out, not going through the door, that makes a lot of sense. I like AEW's rules for their cage matches. It's just pinfall and submission. It's just the cage is mostly there to keep the people out and kind of keep the people close together, since you can't really run out of the ring that quick when you're in a cage. The fact that wrestlers choose to climb instead of run out the door just makes no sense. It's an illogical factor in the cage matches that I just absolutely hate in the WWE. If they take away the door aspect, make it to where you either have to climb out, win by pinfall, win by submission, it makes a lot more sense, and these matches would probably be a lot more enjoyable. I saw someone online that said that this Raw was more extreme than Extreme Rules, and it kind of was, because Extreme Rules only had one Extreme Rules match and a triple threat match that didn't really venture too much in the extreme. This was a decent Raw because it had that no DQ match that was really, really an extreme match, and it had the cage match, which was really good. So those two matches made this Raw really just a good match. I mean, Riddle and AJ Styles was also a good match. This was a decent Raw. I know they're trying to make Raw really good right now because it's feuding, I guess you can say, in the ratings against Monday Night Football, but it's really going against Monday Night Football, and then their demo was being beaten by Wednesday Night Dynamite from AEW for like 2 weeks. So they're making Raw better. They're putting bigger matches on Raw, so that's gonna be fun to see what they do going forward. Next week we have the draft on Monday Night Raw, and then they announce the week after that we have a King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring tournament. So there's some stuff going on Monday Night Raw that's gonna keep the viewers interested. Next up we have Friday Night SmackDown, Royal Farms Arena, Baltimore, Maryland. Approximately 7,200 fans in attendance. Last week, no attendance did I report on this podcast because I couldn't see any numbers going around, but I see now that it was approximately 11,500 fans that were in, I believe it was in Philadelphia last Friday night. Last week, the ratings were 2,135,000 viewers and 713,000 in the 18 to 49 range for a .55. 3 matches tonight on this 2-hour Friday Night SmackDown, and off my timekeeping, it was approximately 31 minutes of wrestling on the 120-minute SmackDown. This is night 1 of the draft. The rules are half the draft is tonight, the other half is Monday at Raw. No idea if only half the talent is up to be drafted or what. The roster switch won't happen until after Crown Jewel, so the next 2 Raws and 2 SmackDowns after the draft will still have the old roster. Each brand selected 2 picks during the round. SmackDown had the first pick each time. In the past, Raw got an extra pick. It was like a 3-2 split since Raw was 3 hours and SmackDown was 2 hours. But they had a draft, I think, over Saturday or after the SmackDown. It was reported on Talking Smack. And on that, Raw got a lot more picks than SmackDown, so I guess that's what they're doing to make up for it. And again, they said half the draft is on Monday Night Raw, but then you also did some sort of draft on Talking Smack. I really don't know what's going on. These draft rules are just, they make no sense. I wish they would just explain it a little bit better. Is there like some sort of kayfabe salary cap we have to worry about? Or is only so many people on the rosters able to be drafted? There's storylines involving this that don't really, if we had the draft rules, it would really help the storylines involving the draft. Anyways, there was no war rooms or anything this time around. Last time there was this war rooms where you got to see the funny little clips of people freaking out and getting excited over drafting certain WWE superstars. This time it was just the officials announcing it on a podium on the stage. It's like how you would see a NFL draft or an NHL draft take place. And the cool thing is the fans were booing the WWE officials, Pierce and Sonya, which is really fitting with what you see when you see actual drafts. First pick of the draft, SmackDown selected Roman Reigns. Second pick, Raw selected Big E. Third pick, SmackDown took Charlotte Flair, the Raw Women's Champion. Fourth pick, Raw selects Bianca Belair. So that makes me assume the Street Profits are probably moving the Raw because of that pick. And it has to make Becky feel bad considering she's the champion for SmackDown. And not only did SmackDown choose Charlotte Flair over her, but Raw chose Bianca Belair over her. In fact, at the time of this recording, I don't think Becky Lynch has been picked yet. So she's clearly going to be picked sometime on Monday. And again, nothing in the rules stating why she wasn't picked. Is it a salary cap reason? Was she not available to be picked? You would figure Becky Lynch, as big as she is, she would be picked relatively quick, but she was not picked. And those two women were picked over her. After that, we get the Roman Reigns long entrance. Heyman cut a promo about his match at Crown Jewels against Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar comes out. They face off. We get Suplex City chants. Reigns starts attacking Lesnar. Lesnar suplexes him. The Usos come out. Lesnar suplexes one of the Usos. Reigns leaves the ring. Lesnar's like, come back in the ring. Reigns is like, I'm not going to do that. He declines. So Brock Lesnar decides just the F5 the Usos, and Reigns just leaves. So that was the opening segment after the draft. We go backstage. Kayla interviews Charlotte Flair, who cuts a promo about Fox picking her first. We get the Kevin Owens entrance, and we get a Happy Corbin entrance. We get a little picture-in-picture promo here where Corbin introduces Madcap Moss. This match went approximately 8 minutes long between two. Kevin Owens versus Happy Corbin, 8-minute match. Madcap Moss interfered a lot in this match. You had Happy Corbin and him laughing along this match. Kevin Owens takes an end of days outside the ring. Corbin throws him in the ring, and then he takes another end of days, and Corbin pins him to win the match. This was an okay match. I just have to say it's interesting how Kevin Owens has not been on the last two pay-per-views, and he's just jobbing now to Happy Corbin. Apparently, rumor has it his contract is up in January, and he's made kind of hints on Twitter that allude to him forming or rejoining an old faction with current AEW wrestlers. I believe in the past, WWE has tried to book wrestlers favorably to keep them staying on the roster and keep them from leaving. But Owens is being booked kind of bad at the moment, not appearing at pay-per-views, jobbing to Happy Corbin. I'm not saying that Happy Corbin should beat him, because Happy Corbin's hot right now. He's clearly getting a push. And this match wasn't like a burial match. He was distracted a lot. Like I said, Madcap Moss interfered a lot, so it's not like he got buried, but he's just been missing on pay-per-views. He's jobbing the Corbin. He hasn't really gone anywhere in the last few months, so we'll just see where Kevin Owens goes from here. Will they give him a more favorable storyline? Will they kind of build him up, or will he just kind of be staying in the position he's at? And if so, maybe come January, you probably expect him to be leaving if he doesn't really move on up the card, but we'll just have to see what's going on with Kevin Owens down the line. First pick of the second round, SmackDown selects Drew McIntyre. Second pick, Raw selects RK Bro. Third pick, SmackDown selects Kofi and Woods. 2/3 of the New Day. Not with Big E, because Big E got selected by Raw in the second pick, and the fans were booing. They broke up the New Day again in another draft. They were broken up last year in the draft, now they're broken up again. And the question is, why do they keep breaking up the New Day? The New Day is clearly over. They have storylines going on Raw. And also, from a logical stance, why does the whoever picks the wrestlers, why do they not draft the whole team? You have the option to draft a whole team. You have the option to draft a whole faction. Why would you single out a single wrestler and not take the whole team? Is it because of a kayfabe salary cap issue? If so, let's talk about that. Let's bring that into the storyline so it makes sense. But either way, Kofi and Woods are on SmackDown. Big E's on Raw. New Day is broken up once again. With the fourth pick, Raw selects Edge. We have Kayla backstage. She has an interview with Drew. He cuts a promo about being drafted to SmackDown. We get Edge's entrance. We go to commercial. We come back from commercial. Edge is in the ring with a mic. He cuts a promo on Rollins. Rollins comes on the video screen. He looks like he's outside of a house, and he kind of said that he did not think Edge would actually be on SmackDown, so instead he came to Edge's home. He goes to knock on the door, but the door's unlocked, so he opens it, and he's inside Edge's house. He goes to his fridge. He opens the fridge, takes an apple, drinks out of the orange juice bottle, leaves the fridge door open for a bit, but then he eventually shuts it. He insults Edge's children's artwork on the wall. He just walks around the home, sits down, makes himself comfy. Edge freaks out. He runs to the back. In the back, he's on the phone. He's saying, "Don't come home. I don't care if you have the groceries. Go to your brother. Don't come home. Call so-and-so. Let them know, and just don't come home right now. Go to your brother's house." Next up, we have Carmella entrance, a Liv Morgan entrance. Liv attacks Carmella before the match starts. Carmella grabs a mic, cuts a promo on her, says, "That's the last chance you have to destroy my face." Says ladies and women come out and they put a mask on her. The fans start chanting, "You look stupid." The match still hasn't started, and Carmella goes into the ring and starts attacking Liv. She completely lays Liv Morgan out. She takes her mask off, her music plays, and I guess segment's over, so it looks like there's going to be a match, but since there was fighting before the match started, there was no match, which has kind of been a trend on SmackDown lately. We saw that, I believe, last week with Kevin Owens and Happy Corbin, or maybe 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure. It's happened pretty recently. Round 3, first pick, SmackDown picks Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss. Pick number 2, WWE picks the Women's Tag Team Champions, Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash. Since they're Women's Tag Team Champions, they can still go to both shows until they lose the belts, in which case I'm assuming they're going to just be Raw exclusive since Raw picked them. Pick number 3, SmackDown picks Hit Row from NXT. So this is the first NXT call-up we have on this draft. Pick number 4, Raw selects Keith Bearcat Lee. We get the New Day entrance. Kofi and Woods come out and with the Street Profits. We go to commercial. When we come back, Dirty Dogs and Alpha Academy, they get a little partial reverse jobber entrance there. They have a match, an 8-man tag match that went approximately 10 minutes. It was a fun match. Woods pinned Robert Roode for the win. Round number 4, pick number 1, SmackDown picks Naomi. It was not Sonya's choice. She looks disappointed in it. Pick number 2, Raw selects the Mysterios. I honestly thought if you were going to split up a tag team, it would be the Mysterios. It made perfect sense storyline-wise. You can have Dominic go to Raw, Ray stay on Friday Night SmackDown. Dominic on a brand without his father, maybe picks up some wins, maybe he starts to realize he doesn't need to listen to his father after all. Not being with him, plays off well. Then later on, they meet down the road to keep the storyline going. Well, instead of them splitting up, they're just going to move them to Monday Night Raw as a tag team. Pick number 3, SmackDown selects Jeff Hardy. Pick number 4, Raw selects Austin Theory from NXT, the second NXT call-up. Kayla's backstage. She goes to interview Jeff Hardy, but Brock Lesnar comes into the interview, and Jeff Hardy just leaves, and Brock pretty much takes the mic and he cuts a promo on Paul Heyman. He pretty much says he's a free agent. We have the Bloodline there in the locker room on the couch. Rain notices that Brock Lesnar's line about my good friend Paul Heyman. Ask Heyman if they're good friends. Ask if Reigns and Heyman are good friends. Reigns is upset that the Usos were not drafted to SmackDown tonight. It's kind of implying that Heyman's slacking. Reigns ends up screaming at Heyman. He sends Heyman to Raw to make sure the Usos are drafted to SmackDown. Why not just draft the Bloodline in the first place since factions are a thing? The number 1 pick could have been the Bloodline. So it's kind of weird. They again, it does not explain why you would not just draft the whole team, draft the whole faction. It only makes sense from a salary cap perspective, but we don't have anything like that in the storyline. Roman Reigns sends the Usos to Raw also and pretty much tells them that if they're not drafted to SmackDown to pretty much take care of Paul Heyman, I guess they're going to cut him out of the faction. Anyways, we get the Bianca Belair entrance, the Sasha Banks entrance. Before the match starts, Becky Lynch has an entrance. She comes out. She does commentary. Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, a WrestleMania rematch went approximately 13 minutes. This was a decent match. Lynch on commentary was also pretty interesting about how her and Michael Cole and Pat McAfee were getting into it. It ended with Lynch holding Bianca's ponytail and Sasha Banks rolled her up. Lynch let go and Sasha pinned her for 1, 2, 3. This was a decent match. And after that, Charlotte Flair came out. She laid out Sasha Banks. She laid out Bianca Belair. She stood in the ring holding her Raw Women's Championship title high. Becky Lynch stood on the commentary table, which is a pretty dangerous thing to do after, seeing what happened to it last week. She was holding her SmackDown title belt high, and her and Flair were just kind of jabbering off to each other, doing some trash talking. That's how SmackDown ended. Overall, it was kind of an average SmackDown. Not a lot of matches, only 3. Got a lot of Raw talent interviews, which makes sense since they just got drafted to SmackDown. No idea why they broke up the New Day again. It makes no sense. Why not draft the Bloodline together instead of just Reigns and the New Day instead of just Big E? We have more draft news. It looks like there were some, like I said, draft picks taking place on Talking Smack, which again, why didn't Roman Reigns send the Usos or Paul Heyman to Talking Smack to get the picks done? Anyways, this time Raw got a lot more picks. SmackDown drafted Toni Storm, Aliyah from NXT, Mace, so another tag team being split up there. Drew Gulak and Mustafa Ali and Mansoor were drafted as a tag team to SmackDown. Raw drafted Nia Jax, Doudrop, Zelina Vega, John Morrison, Reggie, R-Truth, Drake Maverick, so a good 24/7 wrestlers right there. T-Bar, Akira Tozawa, another 24/7 wrestler. T-Bar stuck in the middle of all of them. I wonder if he's going to be a 24/7 wrestler in the future too. Hopefully not. Hopefully all these 24/7 wrestlers can come in and come out and do some awesome mid-card wrestling. Alpha Academy got drafted to Raw, so Otis and Chad Gable, this is a good pick for Raw. Hopefully we see some longer matches out of them. They're on SmackDown. SmackDown does not get that many long matches, and Raw does, so hopefully we can see some good matches out of them. And Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz. So far, still no United States Champion or Intercontinental Champion drafted, no SmackDown Tag Team Champions drafted, and no SmackDown Women's Champion drafted. Again, no idea why. Why didn't Reigns send Heyman to Talking Smack to make sure the picks go in? I don't know. We don't really know the full rules of the draft, apparently. Some WWE news is the Royal Rumble's going to the Dome in St. Louis, so that's pretty cool. So we got the Royal Rumble. It's going to be in January this year. A lot of people thought it might be in February, but it's still in January. I think the big news, it's on Saturday night, which I'm happy for. More Saturday night pay-per-views, the better. I like some Saturday night pay-per-views, Saturday night wrestling on a pay-per-view. King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring starting SmackDown after the draft. First time we've had a Queen of the Ring tournament, and the King of the Ring tournament's back. These are always fun. Looks like Fox and USA are working together on these big shows. They're working together on the draft, doing some advertisement back and forth, and they're doing the same thing on the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring. Enough for WWE. Let's jump into the AEW Dynamite Blue Cross Arena, Rochester, New York. Approximately 7,000 fans in attendance. 1,152,000 viewers and 588,000 in the 1849 range for a .45. Monday Night Raw is back on top again in the demo, back-to-back weeks, but let's be honest, 1.1 million viewers for this kind of average Dynamite's a really good thing for AEW. 6 matches on this AEW Dynamite with approximate time of 52 minutes of wrestling for the 120-minute Dynamite. Pyro goes off to start off Dynamite. CM Punk's entrance. He's a commentator this show. No idea if he'll be a commentator again. Too many times during the show when the heels were cutting a promo, the fans were chanting CM Punk, almost like the old days when CM Punk was not wrestling anymore. So that was kind of annoying. In fact, a lot of the online wrestling community did not really like this Rochester crowd. There was a lot of complaints about them. And that was one of them, how they chanted CM Punk. But clearly they were chanting CM Punk not because, this is boring or this sucks like people typically chant CM Punk in the past. They were chanting CM Punk because they wanted him to get off the commentary table and go beat up the heel and start the feud. I'm pretty sure that's why they were chanting CM Punk. We got Adam Cole entrance, Jungle Boy entrance. Adam Cole versus Jungle Boy went approximately 14 minutes. During this match, the fans were singing Jungle Boy's theme song. He had some Adam Cole chants. He got some heat back by slapping Jungle Boy. He got "This is awesome" chants, holy shit chants. Jungle Boy kicked out of a Panama Sunshine, which has not finished anyone in AEW yet. When he beat Frankie Kazarian, he did that move, and then he did the knee shot to the head. When they beat Luchasaurus and pinned Luchasaurus on Rampage, they had to do several finishing moves. So he has never really finished anyone in AEW with just that move. But Jungle Boy kicking out, I think, was still a shock to the fans. Anyways, the match ended with Adam Cole low-blowing Jungle Boy behind the ref's back, and he does a knee to the head to win the match. It was a good match. Afterwards, the Elite came out, and they cut a promo. Bryan Danielson came out when Omega was on the mic. He did the whole Omega on the mic cutting a promo, and his music hits, interrupting it. He asked the fans if they want a rematch, and of course the people chant yes. He says Kenny doesn't have the balls for a rematch. Danielson said, "Kenny, no balls, Omega." The fans started chanting, "Kenny, no balls." Bryan Danielson challenged anyone in the Elite to a match on Rampage. Nick Jackson was already rumored earlier in the day for that match, and that was the match that happened. Omega said, "Why wait till Rampage? Why don't we start the fight now?" Christian Cage came out, Frankie Kazarian came out, Jurassic Express came out to be backup for Bryan Danielson. They come out, they're rung in the ring, and the Elite leave the ring, so they stand tall in the middle of the ring. Lucha Bros does a backstage interview. Each one are holding an AEW tag team title and a AAA tag team title. Andrade interrupted the interview, talks about their AAA tag team titles, says he has a partner that can take them from them. So we'll see who his partner is. Clearly, that's going to be a future match in the work there. Dante Martin had his entrance with Matt Sydal. It was his entrance music, but they kind of split the Titantron half and half. Cody Rhodes had his entrance with Arn Anderson, Brandy, and Lee Johnson. Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson versus Dante Martin and Matt Sydal went approximately 8 minutes. During the match, some Cody sucks chants. I think that's what they were chanting when the match started off. Lee Johnson hit a move on Dante Martin and pinned him to win. It was a decent match, and afterwards, Lee Johnson's theme is the one that played since he was the one that pinned Dante Martin to win the match. Tony Schiavone's in the ring. He interviews Cody. Cody is getting a lot of boos. He's getting a lot of heat from the crowd. He calls out Malachi Black. Arn Anderson cuts him off, tells him to stop talking. Arn Anderson cuts a promo. He says if Cody Rhodes were to get carjacked, he would let the carjacker have the car. He would just say, please don't hurt me. But if Arn Anderson were to get carjacked, he would take his Glock out and blow the head off the person trying to jack his car. Arn Anderson won't coach a loser, tells Lee to come with him because Lee listens. It was a great promo. There was a lot of jokes about it on Twitter about how Arn Anderson's Glock is all elite. Arn Anderson move on a video game where he's pulling out a gun. He made a shirt over it. This might have been promo of the year. Just how staggering it was to say here. Arn Anderson said, if someone carjacked me, I would take my Glock out. I would blow their head off. Great promo, definitely going to be promo of the year. We'll see what's going on here. Cody Rhodes might be turning heel. I think he should turn heel. The fans are clearly against him at this point. And if we had a heel Cody Rhodes, oh boy, he would probably be over. Because look at Britt Baker. She wasn't really over as a face, became a heel, completely over now. Roman Reigns, same story. I think if Cody Rhodes was a heel and Hangman Adam Page got the title, Cody Rhodes could break his stipulation and face Adam Page in his first title defense. And could you imagine the heat from the crowd if it looks like Cody Rhodes about to win and still the world title from Hangman Adam Page after fans have been waiting so long for him to get the title? That could be a move. We'll have to see where this is going here. Clearly, the Nightmare family is having some sort of a breakup. We get Moxley's entrance with Kingston, Darby Allin, and Sting. We get Bear County and Anthony Green. They're already in the ring. I believe they had a jobber entrance. Moxley, Kingston, and Allin versus Bear County and Anthony Green. This match went approximately 3 minutes. Match had some Eddie chants. Moxley hits a violent crown to pin Anthony Green to win the match. It was an alright match. Afterwards, Sting hit a move, and Eddie holds up a Brody Lee sign. Of course, Dynamite's in Rochester, New York, Brody Lee's hometown. We have a video duel promo by Soho and Britt Baker. We get the HFO jobber entrance. Matt Hardy gets some heat by saying 1.5 years ago he was going to debut in Rochester, New York. But of course, COVID happened, and he said it's good it got deleted. It didn't deserve his debut. He completely trashes the city, gets a bunch of boos. Orange Cassidy entrance, Dark Order entrance. This is a 16-man tag team match. It has Orange Cassidy, Alan Angels, Alex Reynolds, Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, John Silver, Stu Grayson, and 10 versus Angelico, Isaiah Cassidy, Jack Evans, George Raw, Mark Quinn, Matt Hardy, The Blade, and The Butcher, and it went approximately 8 minutes. And JR mentioned that one ref for this match is a bad idea, and it is a terrible idea. In a normal tag team match, one ref has a bad enough time keeping track of all the wrestlers, especially how they wrestle tag team matches in AEW. So one ref for 16 wrestlers, that's just terrible. I guess it worked out okay, but at moments, maybe not. One point in this match, of course, this match got a lot of thank you Brody chants. Dark Order still had their beef, and at one point, Evil Uno just walked out, and he's walking up the ramp, and out comes Amanda Huber, Brody Lee's wife, -1, Brody Lee's son, Tay Conti, Anna Jay. They come out, -1 throws some paper at him. They scream at him to go back and fight. He goes back into the match. The match ends with John Silver pinning George Joel. It was a fun match. After the match, the Dark Order shook hands, and they hugged, and they came back together. We have a Leo Rush video promo, talks about leverage buyouts, and I guess he's coming back with an investing gimmick. So I'm kind of glad Leo Rush is back in AEW. I saw him in Bloodsport before WrestleMania, and I was kind of impressed with his match. I was kind of excited to see him come out as a Joker for the Double or Nothing match. After that match, he got injured, so he announced a retirement, but he said he would finish off his New Japan contract, I believe. And I guess now he's unretiring, so he's coming back to AEW. It looks like he's going to be a regular on AEW, so it's going to be interesting to see where he goes from there. But I'm excited. I think he's a good signee for AEW. I think he could put on some great matches in AEW. Next up, we have a Dan Lambert in the ring with Men of the Year. They cut a promo about Jericho getting beat up last week. This promo got shut the fuck up chance. Sky takes the mic, cuts a promo. What chance? Ethan cuts a promo about being overlooked. Yeah, I said, what chance? This crowd chanted the what chant. Online internet wrestling fans absolutely hate the what chants. The what chants just suck. They completely destroy a promo. And we got those chants here during this little segment. We have a Hiroko Shida video promo. Serena Deeb versus Hiroko Shida next week at the 2-year anniversary of Dynamite. We have not seen Shida on Dynamite since, I guess, before Double or Nothing. Longest reigning AEW champion loses and then just completely disappears off TV. I know she's been doing stuff on Dark and Dark Elevation, but if you don't watch those shows, you'd be like, where did she go? She appeared at All Out during that Casino Battle Royal. So we'll see. Hopefully she appears on TV more often. Hopefully she worked out whatever character work she was doing and we see more of her. Next up, we have a Bunny entrance with Penelope Ford. A TJ entrance is what I'm calling this. Because they had a new theme song, I believe, and a new Titantron, and both teams were wearing matching gear, which makes me think that maybe we'll see an AEW Tag Team Championship for the women soon. I think that would be a great addition. I know there's a TBS title rumor going around. It's like a sort of a TNT title, but for women. I like to see a tag team title for women. There's so many women on the AEW roster, and there's just more titles would be a better way to showcase women, get them on the TV more often. We get Bunny and Penelope Ford versus Anna Jay and Tay Conti. This match went approximately 6 minutes. This match is what I call the piss break match, not because of the woman wrestling, not because of the match quality, but because this is the one match on Dynamite that went from picture in picture during a commercial break to nothing but commercials for about 1 to 2 minutes. So this is the one match on Wednesday Night Dynamite we did not, as a TV audience, get to see the complete match of, because it went from picture in picture and cut off. Like I said earlier, I call those the piss break matches. I'm trying to call them on every single podcast, because one match on Dynamite every week has that, where it's like picture in picture, cuts off, nothing but commercials for a minute or two, then we come back to the match. Usually it's the second to last match on the Dynamite. Sometimes it's been the second match on the Dynamite. Sometimes I think once it was even the third match on the Dynamite. This week it was clearly the second to last match. I got the piss break match. Anyways, this match, Anna Jay put Penelope Ford in a chokehold, and the ref calls the match. -1 comes out afterwards to celebrate. This was an alright match. We have a Thunder Rosa, Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose video promo for a triple threat match on Rampage. MJF has his entrance with Wardlow. MJF is in the ring. He cuts a promo on the city, trashes the city, talks about the talent of AEW, specifically the young talent. He talks about Jungle Boy, who he beat. He talks about Sammy Guevara, who he beat. He talks about Darby Allin, whatever. And he talks about himself, says he deserves to be AEW World Champion. He says, out of all the cons in professional wrestling, Tony's in the top 2. There were CM Punk chants for this segment. He also mentions how he has Bruce Pritchard on speed dial. So he's kind of hinting, just a little hint, that he could leave AEW for another wrestling promotion if he doesn't get what he wants. Darby Allin's music hits. He has his entrance. They cut a little promo battle. MJF called him a school shooter mime on a skateboard. Darby Allin tells MJF to leave if he wants to leave, because Darby Allin, he's AEW for life until death. MJF brings up Darby Allin's uncle. So apparently Darby Allin and his uncle were in a car. His uncle was really drunk, and he was drunk driving. They had an accident. His uncle died. And he said the wrong man died that night to Darby Allin. He wanted Darby Allin to hit him. Darby said, "You can't mentally break me." MJF looks frustrated. Since he can't mentally break Darby Allin, he leaves with Wardlow. Looks like we're having an MJF versus Darby Allin feud. And since Darby Allin's been taking some big single match losses, I think MJF is probably going to get this win. We'll see if this feud's going to be on a Dynamite, or maybe it's going to even be on Full Gear. It'd be an interesting, fun little feud, and I think these guys could put on a great match. We have a Sammy Guevara and Miro video promo for the main event. Sammy Guevara entrance, Miro entrance. Sammy Guevara versus Miro for the TNT title. This match went approximately 13 minutes. This match had a "one more time" chant when Miro was just attacking Sammy. He played into it too, but then Sammy ended up reversing the attack. This match got "this is awesome" chants, holy shit chants. Miro ripped a turnbuckle off. Figo del Sol came out and Miro knocked him off the apron. Guevara ended up hitting a tornado DDT, a GTH, and then hit a 640 splash and pinned him to win the match. It was a good match. Confetti came out. Sammy Guevara is a new TNT champion. We keep the tradition going of a new belt because he has a bedazzled black and gold belt. So it's like the black and gold Darby Allin had, but it's a little bit more bedazzled on the gold part. Overall, this was a decent Dynamite for the average card. The matches were all right to good, and the promos were pretty big this episode. Definitely some promos of the year from Arn Anderson there. Next week is a 2-year anniversary. That should be a good card. I thought Miro was going to win that TNT title match. I really thought he'd be a champion for a while. This TNT title, Miro has been probably the best Miro's been. When Miro first came to AEW, the fans online were just trashing his gimmick, trashing him, saying he was way better in the WWE. And I just don't understand why they just couldn't be a little bit, just let the story play out. I know Miro was trying to build a story. He's trying to redo his character, but they want him to be this Miro from the get-go. I don't know if that would have worked out. But this Miro now is great. If you just let the story play out, we can see where the character goes. This TNT title Miro was probably the best Miro's been in AEW. So we'll see where he goes from here, who his next feud is. Maybe he's going to go for a world title. Maybe it'll be in a world title match. Maybe we'll have to see. AEW Rampage, same location and the same attendance as Dynamite since it was filmed right after Dynamite. Last week's Grand Slam 2-hour Rampage special had 640,000 viewers, 376,1849 for 0.29. I was honestly expecting a lot more, maybe closer to 1 million viewers. Kind of a disappointing rating in my opinion, but it finished first for tonight on cable, and it's in a bad time slot, so maybe TNT's happy with it. But I was really expecting maybe closer to 1 million viewers since this is CM Punk's first match back on TV in, I don't know how many, 7 years. And a lot of people were saying it was a low rating because of the 2 hour. I don't think it's because it was 2 hours. I'm not sure the actual breakdown for the hours, but I remember seeing something like maybe 700,000 for hour 1, 500,000 for hour 2, something like that. So it wasn't like it was the 2 hour. It wasn't like 1.2 million and then 300,000. It wasn't anything crazy like that. So I don't think the 2 hours is why it had a low rating. And I still think they could do 2-hour rampages going in the future. They have the roster for it, but it was kind of a disappointing rating. But look at the time slot it's in. Maybe TNT's not really expecting much more than that. Either way, that was 640,000 viewers for last week's Rampage. There were 3 matches on this Rampage for approximately 34 minutes of wrestling on the 60-minute Rampage. So on my approximate timekeeping, it looks like this 60-minute Rampage had 3 more minutes of wrestling than the 2-hour SmackDown did. Pyro goes off. Commentary team is Taz and Excalibur. Bryan Danielson has his entrance. Nick Jackson has his entrance with Matt Jackson and Brandon Cutler. Bryan Danielson versus Nick Jackson went approximately 16 minutes. Fans chanted, "You're going to get your fucking head kicked in" during this match. Taz was impressed that the crowd can chant a long sentence. This is the first time I think AEW's chanted, "You're going to get your fucking head kicked in." Especially because it's during the music for Bryan Danielson. It's like kind of like in his theme song. So when he comes out, you expect fans to maybe chant that. Instead, they're still doing the yes chant. So we'll see how long it takes them for the chant that during the entrance instead of the yes chant. And I'm not sure why Taz was impressed considering the AEW fans have pretty much acapelloed Judas before. So yeah, it's a long sentence. It's a long chant, but they were able to get it in there. There was some outside interference by Matt Jackson during this match, but this match ended with Danielson putting Nick in the cow mutilation, and Nick taps out. This was a good match. Elite come out to help Nick. Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy, they come out to help Bryan. Matt Jackson starts jabbering off to them. Christian Cage hits Matt Jackson. The group starts brawling. Jungle Boy puts Adam Cole in a snare trap. Omega runs in and attacks Danielson, but Danielson puts him in a label lock, and Omega and Cole both tap out at the same time. Danielson, Cage, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy, they stand tall in the end. We have a Powerhouse Hobbs and Hook backstage video promo, just introducing a Ricky Starks video promo of him in a nice house with kind of a rich lifestyle and a nice rich car, who cuts a promo on Cage. Ricky Starks joins commentary. Punk video promo about wanting to face the best. I guess he's done with Team Taz because he didn't really mention Team Taz when he said that. It sounds like he's moving on from Team Taz and going to face another wrestler. We'll see who he feuds with next. We have Jade Cargill's entrance with Mark Sterling. The Nyla Rose entrance with Vicky Guerrero. Thunder Rosa entrance. We have Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose versus Thunder Rosa. Triple threat match went approximately 9 minutes. This was also the piss break match of Rampage, and not because of the wrestlers or because of the match quality, but because this was the one match on Rampage we, the TV audience, did not get to see the complete match of because there was no picture-in-picture at all. It's just straight commercial the whole time. They didn't even do the picture-in-picture in the commercials. Straight commercials during this match. Anyways, this match had a lot of weapons. Thunder Rosa slammed Nyla Rose through a table. Got some holy shit chants from the fans. Jade Cargill then hit Thunder Rosa with a chair several times and pinned her to get the win. This was a fun match. We'll have to see where this feud goes from here. Good win for Jade Cargill. Thunder Rosa taking a loss, but the way she took the loss wasn't that bad. And I still think Thunder Rosa is going to be the one that dethrones Britt Baker down the line when they meet up again. But clearly she's taking a loss here. She's going to have to get some wins back to be back in the title picture. We'll see where Jade Cargill goes from here. This is a good win for her. Like I said, apparently there's a TBS title on the way, so someone's going to win that. If the TBS title rumors are true, it's a woman's title, someone's going to win it, and maybe Jade Cargill is one of the top picks to win that title. This might be the first women's triple threat match in AEW. I'm not actually sure. I know they've had a four-way women's match before, but triple threat matches in AEW and four-way matches in AEW are pretty rare. I don't know if I've seen a triple threat women's match in AEW before. If so, it has been a long time ago. They're fun matches. They're really entertaining matches, but they are pretty rare on AEW. We have a Malachi Black video promo. He cuts a promo on Cody, and then he's pretty much saying he's done with the Nightmare Family. So I guess Malachi Black is also moving on from that feud. We have the weekly Mark Henry pre-main event interview. Orange Cassidy has his entrance. Jack Evans has his entrance with Matt Hardy. Hair versus hair match. Orange Cassidy versus Jack Evans went approximately 9 minutes. The HFO came out during the match, but Best Friends came out too and stood in front of the ring. More HFO members came out, but then the Dark Order came out and stood next to the Best Friends. A distracted Jack Evans got hit with an orange punch, and Orange pinned him to win. This was an okay match. Best Friend set up a chair for Evans to get a haircut. Angelico did not want to see his tag team partner get a haircut, so he tries to go through the wall of the Dark Order to help, but he gets beat up. And the other HFO members want to go help Jack Evans, but Matt Hardy says nope, refuses. He sends them to the back. Orange Cassidy cuts off Jack Evans' ponytail. Then they start shaving off parts of his hair. It ends with a big hug between the Best Friends and the Dark Order of -1 in the middle. This was a decent Rampage match quality-wise. I saw people on Twitter upset about spoilers. I saw so many like spoiler upsets. I really thought this was going to have like some big surprise ending, but how it ended was kind of figured how it would end, that Jack Evans would get a haircut and Orange Cassidy would win. Decent Rampage. Next week it has a Dynamite's 2-year anniversary, so it's going to be a pretty big card. You have Serena Deeb versus Hiro Kushida. I think Hiro Kushida is going to get the win. AEW TNT title match, Sammy Guevara versus Bobby Fish. I think Sammy Guevara is going to win. Bobby Fish, I think, was just recently released from NXT. So that's kind of cool that he's on AEW. I know in the match card he's wearing a shirt that has like the AEW logo on it. So rumor has it he might have signed with AEW. We'll have to see. But that's going to be a pretty fun match there. 8-man tag match. Bryan Danielson, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy versus Adam Cole, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson. That's going to be a big match right there. A real fun match. AEW World Title #1 Contendership Casino Ladder match has Matt Hardy versus Lance Archer versus Orange Cassidy versus Pac versus Jon Moxley versus Andrade El Idolo versus question mark because they're versing a Joker. I believe commentary said that the Joker might not even get in the match, so I have no idea how this match is going to go if that's the case. But it's kind of cool to see who's the Joker gonna be. I would like to see Will Ospreay because I think he would be awesome in a ladder match. A lot of people online are hinting it could be at Jay White because there's a little bit more of a storyline there. The thing is, I think the Joker is going to win this match because none of the people mentioned in the match, I feel like, will get a title shot soon, or maybe even, because Orange Cassidy and Pac have already had a title shot against Kenny Omega. Jon Moxley, of course, has had fights against Kenny Omega. Andrade El Idolo would be a good match, but we just had that at Triple Mania not too long ago. Lance Archer could be a decent match, but he's kind of a heel. So Lance Archer's a heel. Andrade El Idolo's a heel. Matt Hardy's also a heel. So it's hard to think a heel's going to win this match. The other three are faces that he's already had feuds with. That's what makes me think it's probably going to be the Joker that wins. It's probably going to be a match against the Joker that they're going to have. Usually on a Dynamite. Usually they have these matches on Dynamite, so it's probably going to be a future Dynamite. We see this #1 or this AEW World Championship match. All right, it's time for the worst match of the night and the match of the night. So worst match of the night for AEW Dynamite is Moxley, Kingston Allen versus Bear County and Anthony Green. That was just the worst match. It's also, I think, the shortest match. It wasn't, like I said, it was an okay match, but definitely the worst match of the night for that Dynamite. And worst match of the night for AEW Rampage is Jack Evans versus Orange Cassidy. Of the 3 matches, that was the least interesting match. And now for the match of the night, brought to you by soap. Soap is awesome. Soap is something that keeps you clean. You wash your hands with it. You shower with it. It makes you smell good. Soap is awesome. Soap is clean. Not all these match of the nights ended clean, though. AEW Dynamite match of the night is Adam Cole versus Jungle Boy, which of course had a little dirty finish there with the low blow. It was really between that and Sammy Guevara versus Miro, but at the end I chose Adam Cole versus Jungle Boy, and that is the match of the night for Dynamite. Match of the night for AEW Rampage is Bryan Danielson versus Nick Jackson. It was really a no contest. That match was the best match on the show. Now let's get into some New Japan G1 worst match of the nights and match of the nights. I only watched 2 nights this week, so I'm about 2, I think maybe 3 nights behind at the moment. So we're going to do a night 5 worst match of the night is Toru Yano versus Tanga Loa. Match of the night is Kota Ibushi versus Zack Sabre Jr. Night 6 worst match of the night is Hiroku Goto versus Jeff Cobb. Match of the night is Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Tama Tonga. Worst match of the night leaderboard. First place tie between Tanga Loa, Yoshihashi, and Jeff Cobb with 2 worst match of the nights apiece. Match of the night leaderboard has a 4-way tie between Zack Sabre Jr., Shingo Takagi, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Kazuchika Okada with 2 apiece. Anyways, if you enjoyed this podcast, please go ahead and click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. Or if you did not enjoy, please go ahead and subscribe. You might enjoy future podcasts. If you want to review this podcast, you can tweet me at consume_review. Anyways, my name is Carl. I'm the Consume and Review Lad. This has been the Consume and Review Weekly Wrestling Review number 7. Peace out.